Right, now just a wee bit about what wave fronts are. What you see in this diagram here, or the photograph, is ripples, but those ripples are actually lines joining up points which are exactly in phase or doing exactly the same thing. In other words, these are wave fronts. So that's really, we're looking at the top of the crests of each successive wave there. So the distance between one crest and the next, if I just drew out a wave here, is a wavelength. But really what you have here, if I'm going to try and draw on top of this diagram, there's a crest and then a trough and then a crest again, then a trough and then a crest again. And really what you have here is loads and loads and loads of these all lined up in the same place, loads and loads of them. Right the whole way around there. I'm hoping that you can see that, possibly you can't. But the distance then between one set of crests and the next is a wavelength. Now this is the same for plane wavefronts, and this diagram is maybe a bit clearer. If you can imagine that we had a line of people all lined up here, and then another line, and I would have made you do this in class, and then another line and so on. And all those people's heads were all at the same height. Then if we were to draw a line of waves here, that would be a line of crests, and underneath troughs, a line of crests, troughs, crests, troughs, crests, troughs, crests, troughs, and crests again. So you can see you would have lots and lots and lots of these all lined up behind each other. And when you draw a line across the top of the heads there, or across all the particles which are doing exactly the same thing at the same time, we call this a wave front. And so the distance between one line and the next line is actually a wavelength from one head to the next, because that's crest to crest and crest to crest and so on. So a wave front is a line joining points on waves which are exactly in phase. And that wavefronts are usually drawn across the top of crests, so you would have another line here in behind, and another line, and so on. And so the wavefronts, you can see the straight lines there, are drawn over the top of all the crests there. Now very often you're asked to work out a wavelength from a diagram like this, and even though you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wavefronts, it's the distance between one wavefront and the next that you're really interested in, and the distance between one and the next is a wavelength. So you've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wavelengths in a space of 5 centimetres. So lambda must be 1 centimetre there. So be careful, that would be so easy to be caught out there. Despite the fact there are 6 lines, it's the spaces you're interested in for your wavelength. There's only 5 wavelengths there. So just be very careful about that.